This is Rudy Giuliani, and I am back with you on America's Mayor Live. And I'm going to pick up where I left off on the Rudy Giuliani show because I didn't have enough time to really cover this Neiman Marcus story the way I wanted to because I'm outraged by it. Neiman Marcus is a Dallas company. It's being sold to Saks Fifth Avenue. So this is its last year, and this is the going away present that its CEO, who has the name of Jeffrey Van Ramdonk. Jeffrey Van Ramdonk obviously doesn't like Christmas, even though Christmas has probably made him a fortune, right? Because he, like all of the other department stores, have done everything they can to take Christ out of Christmas. Now they want to take Christmas out of Christmas. Um, and they start their Christmas sales, now in July 4th, right? Isn't that what the first Christmas sale? I mean, Hallmark has the Christmas movies on all year. I mean, I used to love those movies, but you can only take them for about a month. Yeah. Now they're on all year. Yeah, yeah. They burned out on it. That's true. Well, now he's going to take Christ out of Christmas and Christmas out of Christmas because that is a beautiful lady, right? Great for the January sales catalog, but that is not exactly a Christmas scene, a Neiman's fantasy. You can't even say holiday, you son of a bitch. And here's the woke explanation, right? This is this is this is meant this is meant. Oh, first of all, the employees were never told, and apparently many of the employees are people who celebrate Christmas, and they found out via the Dallas Morning News. Uh, Obviously, it's one of the reasons why Neiman Marcus has been going to hell for so long and been so poorly managed, which is why it's being taken over by Saks. I mean, this guy Van Ramdunk has an impressive name, but that must be the end of it, right? I'm Jeffrey Van Ramdunk, and I don't know shit from Shinola. They do sell Shinola watches, by the way. I should tell you that.
Detroit, baby.
And I have to tell you, I bought my first Shinola watch in Neiman Marcus in Dallas because I have been seeing the Don watch as an advertisement where they where they first advertised The Sopranos, and right next to my right right next to my condo they'd taken from me, and I went and I bought it. I was there for a wedding, and Shinolas are made in Detroit. They are very fine watches, but they are reasonably inexpensive. Like you look at it and you think it's a $5,000 watch, and it's a $400 watch. That's that's more like it, and they run from about 400, and they're not all 400. Uh, I don't know if any gets above 1,500. I haven't bought one in a long, long time, but I really like them. I have a Muhammad Ali edition, and of course they want to take them all from me. The Biden former law partner and lawyer for the crooked Ukrainian company Burisma, his law firm represented them. That's the company that paid Joe Biden the bribe that I exposed. They represented these women, apparently free of charge, because their legal fees would be about $6-7 million if it wasn't. And they want to take all my watches. I think they even want my Joe DiMaggio um, uh, photograph, which he left to me specially. Signed it, left it to me, because at the end of his life, we became good friends. Because he admired the work that I did against the mafia, and he hated the mafia. And he loved to talk about politics and knew quite a bit about it. And I love to talk about baseball and know quite a bit about it, although I'm not talking about baseball for a week because I'm in mourning because what the Dodgers did to us. or what we did to ourselves last night. Boy, you can't even blame the Dodgers. Not that they didn't play great. I mean, they played great in all the other games. This game was like, here you go. Here's the game. We're ahead 5-0. You know, they got 5 unearned runs to tie the score. I've never heard of that. 5 unearned runs.
Well, yeah. Craziest baseball playoff game I've ever seen.
Well, Neiman Marcus, there's the catalog. How about we Budweiser them, huh? Why don't we Budweiser them? Don't buy anything in there. Look, first of all, it's too damn expensive. This year they have a Marilyn Fitoussi, Emily in Paris costume designer, $175,000 VIP styling experience with Emily in Paris costume designer Marilyn Fitoussi. This is going to be something about 175 grand. Wow. Wow. That is $777,777 safari in Namibia. 777,777 safari in Namibia. This is during a time of economic difficulties in America, inflation, people don't have enough money to buy food. And this poor excuse for an American store. And please, employees, don't get upset with me. You're very good people. But you got one hell of an owner, or whatever the hell he is, and selling out the store too. He's probably the reason it's run down. Woke idiot. And they're going to be acquired for $2.65 billion by Saks Fifth Avenue owner HBC, which I do hope restores Christmas, because I do not think you should do Christmas shopping that is really a Neiman fantasy shopping, because the holiday, according to that thing up there, is a Neiman fantasy. I never heard of that as a holiday. I did hear about the birth of Jesus Christ as a holiday. It's been around for a while. It's disgraceful what department stores do with it anyway. But when you start being unable to call it Christmas, they describe it as the cover depicts a model with a big, clunky keyhole earring. Is that a keyhole earring, Ted? Looking through another keyhole against a starry night background.
Didn't even notice that, but I suppose that's what it is. Yeah.
Not even one star, like the Star of Bethlehem or something.
Yeah.
Maybe we could have a couple of kings in the background or something, like the Three Kings. Or instead, we got a beautiful looking broad. I mean, which is fine, but excuse me, you're not supposed to say broad.
Really?
I think that's a bad word. Yeah.
I don't know.
I only meant it as a joke. I mean,
Yeah,
you can't tell jokes.
Hey, you can't tell jokes.
A beautiful looking woman. I mean, nothing against the woman. I mean, she probably didn't even know she was.
She was signing up for it.
Yeah, I mean, what a great catalog cover that'd be for January, right?
Yeah, but
they got to throw out Christmas.
But it's like we're talking about Christmas, the Christmas season, and there's some. Even if you want to go the non-religious route, which we shouldn't be doing, like you said.
Second, wait. Then don't try to make money off Christmas, you greedy bastard. Don't try to make money off Christmas. I mean, here, in the spirit of inclusivity, as it welcomes customers of all backgrounds, religions, and traditions, while it rejects the Christian religion. Well, give us the benefit of our holidays and give them the benefit of their holidays. Well, you want to have a Ramadan sale? Have a Ramadan sale. See how many people show up. In Dearborn, Michigan, it'd be big, right? Right. In Dallas, Texas, I think a Christmas shopping thing would be bigger than Ramadan. But that's the way we are. Certain parts of the country, different. To celebrate Christmas is not to denigrate anybody else.
Of course not.
To take away Christmas is to denigrate the Christian religion. The mere fact that we can have a public celebration of a religious holiday does not establish a religion. as our national religion. That's what the Constitution prevents. The Constitution prevents the establishment of a state religion because we did not want to be the Church of England. Largely because the Church of England was at war with the Protestant sects in England. The Catholic Church in early America was almost irrelevant. I mean, they had a colony in Baltimore and they founded St. Augustine, and that was it. I mean, they were not heavily involved. So this was an intra-Protestant debate between the Church of England, which to many Protestants was seen as nothing very different than the Roman Catholic Church, very similar ceremonies, very similar, if not identical, theology, even a bit true of Lutheranism and seen as sort of high church. Whereas a lot of people that came to America, were Puritans and they were much more minimalist in the practice of religion. Bible, not much theology beyond the Bible, and no ceremony. I mean, Christmas wasn't even celebrated by certain Christian sects. It was considered too festive. You shouldn't be happy. That changed. Even in England, it was like that. Dickens changed it. I mean, Dickens is I don't know if you saw the movie years ago with the man who reinvented Christmas. It was Charles Dickens. But in any event, let's see if we get some people together. Just to, why would you want to buy anything from these people? Well, I want to call your attention to something that isn't going to be. You're not going to have your attention called to it, but I'm going to do it because I had something to say about this last night. And I see that Mick Mulvaney, who was Donald Trump's third chief of staff, and a guy that I always respected. I don't remember how it all ended with President Trump. I thought there was this falling out, but maybe not. You can't tell from this article. This article pretty straightforward, and I think it's because he's outraged at John Kelly. But it seems like he knows about John Kelly like I do. I mean, I knew John Kelly before the White House because I had worked with him to get a bridge named after a soldier under his command who died very heroically. And I had spoken at the soldiers' graduation. And I worked with the town of Sag Harbor to get the bridge renamed. And my ex-wife did. And we both liked John Kelly. And I liked John Kelly when he came in, and I thought he did a great job in Homeland Security. I thought I was not consulted. I was the president's lawyer, not his advisor. I didn't think John Kelly was. I don't think generals make good chiefs of staff, well, for a lot of reasons. Even the really great generals are not going to be chiefs of staff. It's like trying to take a mayor or a governor and make him a congressman. But in any event, I thought, well, maybe Kelly's such a talented man, it might be different. But I didn't know that Kelly was a control freak. He is. I'm sorry, he's a control freak. The guy has no idea how to be a chief of staff. He thought he was the general in charge, and the president was working for him. And nobody ever gave him a course in how to be number two. And I'm going to read a few excerpts from Mick's op-ed piece in the Post today. The ex-chief of staff, John Kelly, the recent media blitz led by ex-White House chief of staff John Kelly, as he tried to tie former President Trump to Adolf Hitler, has certainly got a good bit of attention. I was not, however, surprised about what Kelly said. His recent behavior is simply consistent with what many of us saw in the White House during Kelly's tenure. Kelly saw the job as that of a self-appointed overseer, charged with protecting the country against a president that those same people had elected. Faithful service never implies doing things that are illegal or immoral or in violation of our oaths to the Constitution. Very interestingly, Kelly doesn't express that Trump ever asked him to do anything that was illegal, immoral, or wrong. But many years after the fact, his objections appear to relate to Trump's alleged tendencies and inclinations. Kelly's central aim now appears to be establishing a tie between Trump and Hitler. using the former president's alleged own words to do so. Curiously, absolutely no one else seems to recall comments similar to what Kelly has alleged. You can add me to that, and I spent probably as much time with President Trump during that period as anyone, as his lawyer. Never heard him express any comments favorable, even in a joking way, to Nazis. Donald Trump certainly never spoke favorably about Adolf Hitler to me, says Mick, which seems consistent with the fact that his daughter and grandchildren are Jewish. Indeed, he never mentioned the man, not to me, and not to any of my dozens of staff with whom I've communicated since Kelly went public. You can add me to that, Mick. True, former National Security Advisor John Mustache Bolton responded to Kelly's charges by saying, "If John said them, I believe them implicitly." I don't know why you have to believe him implicitly. Either believe him or you don't believe him. What's the distinction in believing something? Suppose you don't believe it implicitly. What does that mean, Ted?
Yeah, why the extra?
What's a jackass sentence?
It really is, yeah.
It's a jackass sentence. The mustache must have gotten in the way of the words. Every once in a while, every once in a while, he had to do a better job of cleaning that damn thing out. You know, when you were with him. If John said them, I believe them implicitly. But that is probably not surprising given Bolton's very public antipathy toward his former boss. Bolton's contribution make one thing clear, however. He never heard any similar comments. He believes them implicitly. But if he had heard them, wouldn't he say, I heard them too?
Yeah, what?
So let's add Bolton to the people who never heard them. Everybody that Mick talked to, everybody that I know, and me, never heard him say anything about Hitler or anything demeaning about the military, which is disgusting, by the way. Neither did Trump ever ask me to do anything illegal or immoral. He never gave me any reason to believe, as Kelly contends, that he was a fascist. I would have resigned my post if I had heard what Kelly heard. The fact that he didn't makes it highly doubtful that they ever occurred. Well, think about that. If Kelly was so upset that the guy was comparing himself to Hitler, why didn't he quit? Hey, General, you serve a guy who likes Hitler? You want to turn in the stars? Now, I am really, really sorry because General Kelly is a Gold Star father. He lost his son. Nothing ever could hurt you more than that. But because of that, you don't get to demean people and to disgrace them and to say things because you're all upset that are patently untrue. What you said about Trump is absolutely untrue, General. And I saw the way you acted. I even saw the way you acted towards some of the staff, including my son. There's something wrong with you. You should get it fixed. He's proof that the Trump derangement syndrome indeed knows no bounds. Americans have come to expect as much from politicians, the media, political activists. We deserve more from a White House chief of staff and from a Marine general. It's a disgrace what he's doing, the Hitler thing. And I'm going to tell you, if he sat there and remained chief of staff, if the president of the United States said Hitler did things right, then we got to question an awful lot about General Kelly, don't we? Would you do it? If you would, I'd have no respect. I wouldn't stay 1 second after that. Where do we find these people? God, and what happens to them? What happens to them? Power, greed. In his case, I mean, I know something went wrong with him. I could go into even much more detail, and maybe I don't really feel I have to, but I know a lot more about him too. But
based on corruption.
I don't know. I don't think it's corruption. In his case, he's not a corrupt man. He's a very disturbed man with a lot of problems adjusting. Maybe it has to do with the son. I don't know. But he sure was a control freak of the worst kind. I mean, in the pathological control freak, never mind. In any event, had he heard the comments about soldiers being awful, whatever he supposedly said about soldiers that Trump would never have said, or comments about Hitler that nobody else heard, if he was a man of honor, he would have quit. You know, the FBI ran around before the hard drive came out and warned all the tech companies. This would be, you know, a little over 4 years ago, and went around and told all the tech companies this stuff was going to come out on Hunter. It was going to be Russian disinformation. Of course, they knew it wasn't. So this would have been like late September, early October of 2016. In December of 2015, they had already validated the hard drive. What I mean by that is they knew it wasn't Russian. They knew it came from John Mac Isaacs, and they knew it was Hunter Biden's. And they knew that everything in it was accurate. That doesn't mean everything is true, as O'Reilly said. Some of it could be hyperbole, but that gets done in court. So when Hunter says, I gave half of my income for life to my father, that's evidence in court. Then you test it. You don't just conclude, oh, we don't believe that. Then why did we believe all the testimony against Trump and put that in court? We only believe testimony against Trump and not against the Democrat.
Selective believing.
I mean, and not that was also much more powerful testimony than anything they had against Trump, because in the wisdom of the law, not O'Reilly, I gather, an admission is much more powerful evidence than almost any other, because it comes spontaneously. It comes without coercion. It comes without pressure. Confessions, of course, always have the possibility of being coerced. But when you just freely admit something to someone, of course you can be exaggerating, and your lawyer has a right to try to prove that, unless, of course, you're a lawyer for Donald Trump, in which case you'd be put in jail and disbarred if you tried to do it. But, I mean, if I were Hunter's lawyer or Joe's lawyer, I would argue that. But it would be admitted in evidence on a rule that's about as old as American English law. And it would probably get a charge from the judge that it has a certain special status as evidence, because an admission is a powerful piece of evidence, as is a false exculpatory statement, a lie to cover up your involvement in things. And there are many. I'll give you an example. All the times that Joe Biden said, I didn't know anything about my son's foreign business, which is which the hard drive probably proves is a lie. I'm not exaggerating. In 25 concrete ways, including, believe it or not, Joe Biden's own voice on a telephone message he left for his son, telling his son that he had read all the allegations about China. And here he is telling us he didn't know anything about the foreign business. Now, okay, that shows he's a liar, but here's how it works in a criminal trial. If you have the testimony that he got half the money for the influence and he lied, here's what a judge charges the jury. A false statement about a material fact, and that would be a material fact. Did he or did he not know about the foreign business, considering the foreign business was all about him getting money from enemies of the United States? And you find that he lied about it. Based on that alone, you can find him guilty. Or you can find the intent to find him guilty, just based on that. So false exculpatory statements are also extra powerful proof. Do you know how many false exculpatory statements Joe Biden made? I can't even count them. The man lies every day. He was lying 30 years ago when he said he finished first in the class. Like Tampon Tim, these guys just can't tell the truth. Maybe that's what draws them to this crooked party. I don't know. But you sure as hell have to get rid of that party. You probably should have gotten rid of it when it was a party of slavery and named it something else. Maybe there's a curse on it. I don't know. But since Clinton, this thing has rotted from corruption. And since Obama, it's rotted from ideology. And you got both going on. You got massive crooks and you got a big rush toward communism. And man, I cast my vote today. Did you cast yours?
I did. I casted mine.
Don't tell me how you voted.
I'm getting nervous. I requested my ballot a long time ago. I still haven't gotten it.
Oh, you.
And it's Michigan. I'm
You're
never
not
getting
getting
it. I might be flying back to Michigan.
You know, it doesn't matter. They'll just mark down whatever they want on your ballot.
Yeah, that's not even if I do get it in Philadelphia. I don't know. Once I send it
Yeah,
in
but
the
you
mail,
don't vote. You don't
it's a
vote. Do you,
goodbye.
do you vote in Detroit?
No, not in
Oh,
Detroit.
good.
The opposite end
No,
of the state.
please,
Thank God.
Michigan,
We have a
please.
great clerk.
Please. Aside, when we say these states too, Michigan, Georgia, there is a misconception, and and in the conversation I had today with an editor from the New York Post, it's part of what it's very, very hard for people to believe that an election is fixed, right? Very hard that people would fix an election. Very hard to believe that. Isn't it hard to believe that they would cover up a hard drive like that? Isn't that equally hard to believe?
It used to
That-
be hard. to
It
believe.
was, yeah, it used
Yeah.
to be. Yeah. 5 years
Can
ago.
we play? Can we play what Joe Biden says? When you listen to what Joe Biden said 4 years ago in the debate, and you realize that listening to that was the head of the FBI and the head of the Justice Department, Fat Bar, right?
Right.
When you listen to that,
Fat body.
okay, don't obligation to release the hard drive. There's nothing confidential about it. I mean, or when the president was being impeached, and they said there was no reason for him to ask for an investigation, and the hard drive is filled with 50 reasons to ask for an investigation. As his attorney general, don't you feel you have to give it to Congress? Why were they covering it up? From December on, they had it. So listen to this.
Corruption.
At the time that he says this, everybody in his administration and the Biden administration knew that what he's saying here is an absolute
Russian pawn. His buddy, Rudy Giuliani, he's
Hillary,
being
the
used as a
whole
Russian
friggin' gang.
pawn.
Obama,
he's being
Prince
fed
Obama,
information that
trained
is
by the
Russian,
communists.
that is not true. And then what happens? Nothing happens. And then you find out that everything that's going on here about Russia is wanting to make sure that I do not get elected the next president of the United States because they know I know them and they know me. His buddy, Rudy Giuliani.
His buddy Rudy,
He's being
Rudy
used as a
really
Russian
does know.
pawn. He's being fed information that is Russian, that is not true. And then what happens? Nothing happens. And then you find out that everything that's going on here about Russia is wanting to make sure that I do not get elected the next president of the United States because they know I know them and they know me. His buddy.
I have to tell you that that's complete projection. He knows us. I know him. He's never listened to a hard drive about me. He's never looked at 1,000 pictures of my family and pictures that would make you wonder how deep is the perversion. Not is there perversion, but how deep is it? You got child pornography on that damn thing. I didn't do anything about it. Who cares about the kids? His son tells him I'm a danger to the kids. You never heard that, did you? That's covered up. That's look. There are certain things about personal life that should be covered up. But when a man is as corrupt as this, it can lead to the death of people, and it did, because people covered it up. The man is an evil criminal. I went through this with a certain degree of sympathy for his son, in the sense that I think any decent father would have brought him up very differently. He never would have brought him into the family business. The family business was corruption and bribery, which he did with his brothers when they were trailer trash. Picking up a few bucks here and a few bucks there, selling out the office of Senate. He got elected at 29. He was a stupid man, always a stupid man. He was also a corrupt man from the very beginning. There's an early tape of his that's a giveaway in which he almost says, well, if I hadn't gotten all these contributions, I could have been corrupt. No, if I didn't get contributions, I couldn't be corrupt. Just not going to happen. You give me money and you try to extort me. I do the same thing I did to the Arab princeling. I stick it down your throat. I'm much more interested in what I think of myself and what God thinks of me. That's why I don't really give a damn what they do. And take everything. You're not going to take away my honor. Sorry. You're not going to take away my ability to determine what I believe is true and act on it. And I'd really like to figure out how the hell you're trusting these people that have lied over and over again. And Trump and I have been proven to be truthful. And you believe them. And you don't realize they're lying to you again. You know, when they started these trials, I said, this is just chapter 6. January 6th was chapter 5. Russian collusion was chapter 1. They're all frauds. Most of them involve criminal methods to get them done. How about trying to remove a lawfully elected president on completely perjured, fraudulent evidence, which you paid $1.1 million for? And that was the Hitler one there, Hillary. Well, you know, fracking is critical, right? I'm going to tell you, fracking is critical to the vote in Pennsylvania, right? But fracking is critical to this country. There's an article by Daniel Yergin, who I would consider to be one of the top energy experts in the world, which really points out that it's cracking in order to get oil and natural gas. And fracking, I will explain to you, and I'm certainly not a scientist and wasn't one of my great subjects or whatever. But fracking is basically an hydraulic drilling. Is going way down into the earth, into places we didn't think we had oil, beyond where we used to get oil. And being able to extract oil from some of the old rock formations down there. But I'm talking about really way down. And then they found out, and this happened all in Texas 50, 60 years ago, that if hydraulic drilling just goes straight down, and the oil comes up, just much further down than the old oil wells. They found out that if they go parallel if they go in that direction, if they go in that direction and cut into the rock, they get some more oil, and then beyond the oil, there are vast deposits of natural gas, such that we may have the second most in the world, certainly the third for sure, and maybe the third in oil. 70% of our present production, which is way down, even though we're still pretty close to independent, even with the tremendous cutbacks that the Bidens have done in order to make Iran rich, Venezuela rich, and Russia. Trump stopped the Russian pipeline, started our pipeline. Biden came in, he stopped our pipeline, and he did a go-ahead for the Russian pipeline. Maybe that's what the 3.5 million was for. And that same debate, he said, "No, I never got any. My family never got any money from Russia. The only one who got money from Russia was Trump." Complete lie. Trump's got no money from Russia. He got 3.5 million, proved by the hard drive. That was being hidden at the time that he lied in order to become president. Hidden by the FBI director and the attorney general and everybody in this damn administration. And you believe them now. Do you really? I mean, don't you realize what horrible scoundrels they are? This is the worst and most corrupt episode in American history. You better vote them out of order.
The fact that the media won't cover it is so unbelievable, isn't it?
America produces about 20 million barrels a day of natural gas. Our crude oil production is at about 13.5 million, and that's being held back. Can you imagine? It's just on private land. I mean, this is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Japan, South Korea rely on U.S. energy exports. We were able to blunt a lot of the problems Russia could create for Western Europe with American energy. And nearly half of the European Union's liquid natural gas comes from U.S. source liquid natural gas, mostly processed from shale gas, making the U.S. its largest supplier. This is critical to national security. So we can't take a risk. We can't take a risk with a liar who has spent her entire career guaranteeing that she would stop fracking and the extraction of shale because it's so dangerous to the environment. And there being no change in her scientific position on the danger to the environment, she now changes it because it would be a danger to her becoming president. Bernie Sanders said, why'd she change all the positions? He said, well, to become president, which means, a nice way of saying it, she's lying. So you know what happens with these people. Did with Biden, too. She'll change her position as soon as she gets there, and she'll ban it. And she'll make a great payday for Russia, a great payday for Venezuela, and she'll screw America. That's the first time the Democrats did that. They're doing it all the time. The other reason you can't vote for her is her position on transgender. She's going to pay for operations for criminals and illegal migrants who rape people. You know, Tampon Tim has paid for a group of them already in Minnesota. And when she was Attorney General, she supported California paying for double murder, getting a free sex change. Double murder. Kamala, the tough prosecutor. The crooked prosecutor. Tough on the little people and very easy on the bad people, particularly the political ones.
Whose money do they use to pay for those operations, by the way?
Yours. She's already done it. She's already done it. She doesn't even deny it. She just avoids it. Are you in favor of paying for transgender operations for illegal alien criminals, rapists, murderers? I don't know what else. My family came from the middle class, and we have great aspirations for all people, migrants or otherwise. Well, do you have aspirations so they can, they get mutilated in prison and like the men can figure out a way to get into the women prisons? Where we're much nicer and they get treated better, particularly if they do life because they murdered somebody. You think we should be spending money on people who kill people and changing their sex? And how about people that come to the United States illegally? Why wouldn't they come here to get sex change operations? I mean, they get free credit cards in New York and from Tampon Tim. Probably, I just never thought of it. I bet he gives out free tampons. Has anyone done any research on the brand of tampons that's made available in Minnesota grammar schools and high schools? Do we know the brand, who they have to deal with? Could it be Guardian or Commander, who are two major prophylactic brands that became the name of a football and a baseball team? You never heard of Guardian prophylactics?
Yeah, where have I heard those names? Guardian
and Commander prophylactics?
That might be where.
Maybe we should
Tampon Tim. Look.
Maybe we should have somebody that is, willing to tell the truth. Take a little look in one of those male bathrooms and see who the brand is and who Tampon Tim made the deal with.
Yeah, let's do some research.
And
Don't
also,
wait,
also in the gender sensitivity course that they give in the Minnesota schools, which I guess are fashioned a lot on the red Chinese schools, because he spent a lot of time there, 30 years. Do they explain exactly the rationale of having tampons in a male bathroom?
I saw.
I mean, there's got to be. I'm sure there's got to be some great science. I'm sure Dr. Fauci would have required this if he were in charge. We'll be back very, very shortly as we ponder this very, very important proposition.
We're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Is the new normal. Online freedom as we know it has ended. Digital stockades are here. All activity is monitored, stored, and predictively analyzed by a technological cartel. We're being converted into a digital resource, a digital currency to be farmed for metadata and loaded into a computerized combine. Blockchained to a social engineering operating system. However, it doesn't have to be this way. Be part of a new technological revolution. Right now, 1,000 test pilots have launched themselves into a new digital frontier, a private network outside of big tech control. New technology with state-of-the-art digital engagement and never-done-before security and privacy features that are now operational. With Quick's digital engagement, entertainment, communication, and commercial exchange will never be the same. We are QUX. Quick's. Advanced pre-release sales are limited to 3,000. Order now by visiting quicks.tv. Get yours now before they sell out. Be part of a brand new online experience that you control.
Giuliani back with you on America's Mayor Live, and very live as we get closer and closer to our future, one way or the other. And it's up to you. So as soon as you finish listening and getting all the information you're going to need to beat your neighbors in any debate, get out there and get some votes. Huh? We never know. We never know. I'm telling you, from a professional point of view, just totally dispassionate professional point of view, all of the little factors seem in Trump's favor. It could be, if you look at the factors very, very carefully and take them for what they're worth, he will win a tight victory, small margin of difference in the popular vote, maybe 1% or 2%, and maybe a bigger margin of difference in the electoral vote. There's a chance he could have a big win. There's also a chance everything can go only because they did last time. And I'm sorry, you can torture me all you want. He was elected in 2020. When I walked up to the private residence of the White House, and he was ahead by 750,000 votes in Pennsylvania, and mathematicians were telling me it can't be changed by any legitimate method. And then they kept changing the number of votes and doing all sorts of crap. And then every single place that they stopped counting was a crooked Democratic city where he was ahead, where he lost. Remember, it wasn't Pennsylvania. It was Philadelphia. It wasn't Michigan. It was Detroit. It wasn't Georgia. It was the crookedest place in Georgia, where Fannie the Hoe is the DA. Well, Fulton County. Do you know nobody has examined or paid any attention to the fact that she testified under oath that she took money from her campaign fund so she could go on and pay for vacations with her lover? That's like a private use of the money. But the damn place is so crooked, nobody even went, oh my goodness, like the judge. He didn't refer for investigation for that. If I had heard that, when I heard it, I almost fell over. I replayed it 4 times. But the place is so crooked, I mean, that's nothing. Every one of the places where they stole has a high level of corruption, which invades also the judiciary. Because when you have a corrupt Democratic Party, that's one of the first things they go for. They want control of the judiciary. So you take a look at the judges in New York, and the Supreme Court judges run for election. In many, many cases, they're unopposed. Is that really an election? Is that democracy? Or is that the figment of democracy? Here's why it's not democracy. Because the Democratic nomination is tantamount to getting elected. It really doesn't matter if they have an opponent. And the person who makes that decision is the so-called county leader, otherwise known since Boss Tweed as the boss. And he's known as the boss for good reason, because a high percentage of them were complete and absolute crooks who required personal bribes for appointments. Some were not quite as crooked. They required contributions to the party. And all of them require loyalty to the party. Now, it happens mostly with regard to redistricting. But when a political case comes up, you better vote for the party. Like screw Trump. Like Engoron did. Like Mershon did. Mershon had the extra benefit of his daughter getting $500 million from Harris that nobody pays attention to. And I've got my own cases in New York, and they're not fooling me. The system, you have to assume, in New York, for 150 years is corrupt, except when you've had a Republican mayor or an independent. Otherwise, with a few exceptions, even Ed Koch, honest though he was personally, had a horribly corrupt administration. No one knows it better than me. I put him in jail. And these are the people that are coming after me. The Bar Association has sat by and patted them on the head, done nothing about that corrupt judiciary, corruptly appointed judiciary, and corrupt almost uniformly in political cases, and did nothing about the ridiculous trashing of the Constitution done during the trials of Donald Trump. The civil case by the woman that he supposedly sexually assaulted in the most crowded department store in New York when he was one of the most famous men in New York is utterly absurd. It is on its face false, like the case against me is on its face false, brought by somebody who professionally brings cases like this. I mean, how many times can you be sexually assaulted by somebody and want millions of dollars from them? Or is it the way you, is that your profession? There's a point at which the record makes it clear that that's the case, and you can dismiss the case rather than destroy somebody's reputation. So Donald Trump had to go to trial in that case, even though that woman never gave a date. She never gave a year. How can he defend himself? She didn't say like October 3rd. I've forgotten when it was supposed to be, 1820. She didn't say within a 2-year period. How about the season? Uh-uh. Now, did that happen because her memory is that bad? This is like a very traumatic experience, and you can't remember like even within a few days when it happened. Doesn't sound like it happened, right? Or how about you want the real answer? Unequivocally, the real answer on which I would dismiss this case. Well, first of all, I've dismissed it a lack of due process. He can't defend himself if you don't give him a date. Sorry. But I know why you're not picking a date. Because there's a better chance than not that he'd be out of town when you picked it. Because he travels so much. Come on. What do you think, I'm stupid? And then Inga Morant values Mar-a-Lago at $18 million. I'm 1 mile from Mar-a-Lago right now. There isn't anything between here and there, and that's not me. I'm in an apartment. There isn't a house between here that's worth less than about 12 million, and many of them 40 and 50.
Drove through them yesterday.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, remember we found the one day after for 35 million. That was 1/10 of the size of Mar-a-Lago. It was 1/10 of the size of Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago is on the ocean, and it's on the Intracoastal. I think, and we're going to search around, I think it's the only property in Palm Beach that's on both. That's on both, because the road separates it.
Yes.
And then it's a long distance, not long, 3 blocks. So we're on the Intercoastal. The Intercoastal is right outside my window. When I'm doing this live outside, which I was going to do tonight, but I got kind of like, I was kind of like a sissy. I didn't want to sweat too much. And we were hoping to have Roger Stone as a guest, and Roger got a cold, and you know, I know he had a cold because I interviewed him on my other show last night, and he was sneezing, and yeah. See, they probably, you know what they're going to do? They're probably going to arrest him now for having a cold.
Yeah,
The FBI will be sending out the stormtroopers. Let me call up CNN and let them know we're gonna arrest Roger Stone, and let's really embarrass him, huh? Let's get there around 4 a.m. We'll get a couple of FBI agents. We'll dress them up like, we don't call them stormtroopers. What do we call them? I don't know, stormtroopers.
Oh, that's as bad as representing your client.
That's right.
Not allowed to do that.
Spies who lie. Oh, let's put out spies who lie. I love this. Mr. Panetta. Mr. Panetta, who introduced the new candidate for president, was one of the liars for the last candidate. They don't really care. They have no shame. They take a disgraced liar, Leon Panetta, and they have him introducing Hillary, not Hillary, cackling Kamala, to tell us nothing's going to change. Like, just think of this now, and just see how dumb she is. I am going. Let's find Panetta. I'm most angry at him because he knows me, and he let that bum Biden, and he knows Biden's a bum, and he knows he's stupid. Everybody does. Every one of those people knows Biden's stupid. Not that I've engaged in a conversation with all of them that he's stupid, but some of them. Democrats would tell you how stupid he is. I'm not sure.
Well, they ran him off the ticket.
Well, do they? But did that? The real question, and I don't know. I know a lot of answers about him, and you'll get him in the book. But I don't know how many knew he was crooked.
Up until even 2020, he was able to get by and come close enough where with the extra little boost.
You know something? I think more than you think knew he was crooked, because I think more than you think are crooked themselves. When I even among Republican senators, when I got the cold shoulder on investigating, I said, "Oh boy, are they worried?" You don't think McConnell was pissing in his pants, worried that they're going to look at his father-in-law if they looked at Joe? I mean, I don't know. He had gotten more money from China than Joe did through his father-in-law, and the father-in-law is inherently a big issue. The father-in-law is from Taiwan, right?
Right.
Anti-communist, Chiang Kai-shek. The minute I mentioned Taiwan favorably to the head of the Communist Party in Beijing, I got thrown out of the room. Literally thrown out. Had my security taken away. And I had to basically leave China. I wasn't even sure they're going to let me out. We finished our business and we went. That's after they were whining and dining and offering women. I mean, they are completely amoral, horrible people. For Tampon Tim, before I got into what I now know, which almost answers the question dispositively, as I was developing the information on Tam, I'm saying to myself, how can he, first of all, how can he say something like, one man's socialism is another man's neighborliness? So I attributed that originally before I knew of his unbelievably close contacts to Red China, including romantic, that he was.
And for one thing, don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. But
so I look at him, and I am a lawyer and a trial lawyer. So looking at people's important, because I would look at when I was a prosecutor, I loved it when they looked like criminals. And when I was a defense lawyer, I dressed them up in nice suits and had them shave and try to well, I can't tell you all my tricks. But appearance is important. We make a lot of decisions based on appearance, and I'm not sure they're all accurate, but we do. The minute I looked at him, I said, oh, he looks like a schmuck. He really does. He said, it looks like a big jerk. And that's a jerky statement. That's the kind of thing that stupid Democrats say. Oh, socialism is fine. Oh, all the kids who have been brainwashed by Marxist professors, socialism is fine. Then when I found out he spent time in China, and he wrote something or said something about his best vacation was in China, I said, wait a second now. How could you say that stupid thing if you actually been in China? If you've been in China and you are a partially intelligent man and a free thinker, a man who has the freedom to think, you're going to hate it. The people are going to, you're going to see how unhappy the people are. You're going to see how poor they are. Only rich people in China are the Communist Party. The idea that communism and socialism, everybody shares, is the biggest bunch of malarkey, as Biden would say, in the world. It's the reason it crashes. It's the reason that the 27 experiments with socialism, the 25 of them have ended up in violence, because it is a lie. Marx was an extraordinarily sick man who had a warped understanding of human nature and built a system that necessarily ends in death. You convince people to work hard. We're all going to share. And then the ones who convinced you end up being billionaires, and you don't have enough food to eat. And you say to yourself, this isn't what I was told. I don't like this. And then if you say that, they put you in the gulag. And then if too many people go in the gulag, they start to think about rebelling. It's what's going on in Iran right now, that we are supporting the other side. We're supporting the oppressors, the religious dictatorship who discriminate against women in the worst possible way, including killing them, we're supporting them. The feminists of the Democratic Party are supporting the people who are the most unfair to women in the whole history of the world.
Hypocrites.
Yeah. I mean, they still stone them, but the feminists support them. The feminists support men boxing with women. Real smart.
I don't think the original feminists had that in mind, right?
But you know something? They probably didn't, but if they were around knowing who they were, as reflexive little Pavlovian dog Democrats did, oh, yeah, women, men, if you have a penis, you can still go in you should go in the bathroom you want. Would they believe it? I don't know. I don't know what happens to them. I don't know if they're weak-minded and easily brainwashed, or if they're so insecure that they have to be approved by the. I mean, a lot of it is you want to be approved by the crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the crap that happens in the legal circles with the disbarments and stuff like that, and even in the political circles, is they want to go to the cocktail parties.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I remember one very famous politician telling me about another that he would never support. That if he became president, he'd let the Washington Post run the government. All he cared about is what they wrote about him. And I knew people in Washington that's all they cared about. And who got invited to what parties and how. And all the parties are boring as hell. They're all the same. They serve shit food. You stand up, you get to talk for 3 minutes of frivolity and stupidity. And it's everybody saying they were there. And they want a picture with somebody famous. Or in some cases, they want to sleep with somebody famous.
And it works for them, doesn't it?
Well, it ends up with a corrupt government.
Right.
Because there's no morality to a government like that. The worst thing we did is throw God out. I mean, we need God. We need God back. We need God back at the center. And even those of you who are agnostic, you need God back. Even if you don't believe in him, it works. It's the only thing that holds an ethical system together. A belief in a supreme being. And since you can't prove it's not true, why don't you just let us alone? Let us believe. You can think we're stupid, like the Marxists do, or like she does when she, like Camel, when she threw the people who believe in Jesus out of the meeting the other day. Well, I tell you one thing, I do take personally. I think she hates Catholics. I really think she hates Catholics. The way she treated those judges with the Knights of Columbus, like it was the Ku Klux Klan.
Absolutely.
Either what an ignorant woman or what a prejudiced woman.
Speaking of Kamala, let's check in.
I think that's why she didn't go to the dinner. Too many Catholics. The cardinal would have probably made her nervous.
Mayor, can you help us? I mean, look, very few people know American politics like you do. Kamala Harris spoke tonight. I can't really understand this. And I'm hoping you, with all your experience, can help us decipher what the sitting vice president is saying in this here clip from.
Please, this is going to be a cognitive test. I'm going to fail.
Says, you know what? Let me say something about this. We're here because we're fighting for a democracy. Fighting for a democracy. And understand the difference here. Understand the difference here. Moving forward. Moving forward. Understand the difference here. What we are looking at is a difference in this election. Let's move forward and see where we are. Because on the issue, for example, of freedom of choice, that's okay. That's all right. That's all right. That's okay.
What was that?
I don't know. She's fighting for democracy. But I don't know what kind of democracy. I mean, democracy can be a dictatorship. Hitler was elected by a democracy. Her friend. Stalin was elected by a democracy. The thing that our founding fathers feared the most was the dictatorship of a democracy. When the majority wipes out the rights of the minority, that's what they're doing to us. They're treating Republicans, conservatives, they have since Obama, as the minority that can be wiped out. We don't have a right to exist. That's why we cling to guns and religion. That was a horrible thing that he said, that we cling to religion. I don't know if we realized, I did. That's what really turned me against him. The minute I heard that, I realized that all the stories about his being a trained communist were true. Because he wouldn't have put that much emphasis on religion or gone to religion so quickly, realizing what a religious nation we are. And we were then. But, I mean, you know, the guy who wrote his book was a communist. I mean, a real communist.
This is just to remind people, this is Barack Obama in, I believe, 2007, maybe 2008, before being elected president.
Down so long. And they feel so betrayed by government.
So it's not surprising then that they get bitter and they cling to guns or religion or antipathy towards people who aren't like them.
So religion is equated with guns and having prejudice. Now, who would do that? Not even a guy. I mean, I always thought he was a pretend Christian with that minister that used to say, God damn America. And I always thought he was a Muslim. I mean, he was listed as a Muslim when he was in grammar school. But now I think he was a communist. I think he hates God. People who cling to religion are bad people. That's a bad thing. I mean, I know he thinks guns are a bad thing, so that's bad. I know he thinks that that people who have antipathy to others is a bad thing. So, he puts religion right in the middle of that.
He associates religion.
Who does that? A communist does that. Because the communists are trained on two things, really important, more important than anything else: get rid of God, get rid of the parents. If you could sum up what Marx and Engels would have told them to get it started, a lot more. You got to do a lot more. You got to get rid of a country's history. You got rid of their heroes. Aha, are they doing it? You got to get rid of its traditions. You have to have a cultural revolution like they had in China, like we've had in America. The drag queens coming into the White House, the women sticking out their breasts on the lawn. That's all part of breaking down the values of a moral society. We don't have to be a puritanical society. We have to be a basically moral society. I mean, that's how you end up with the woman showing up with her breasts hanging out. Or imagine in the military when they bring in the drag queens to give lessons to the Marines. We want our Marines to become drag queens. We're training her to be murderers to protect us, justifiable murderers, to kill the people who want to kill us before they kill us. Soldiers aren't for decoration, you know. We got to have one big one, one little one. We have to have one from all 57 genders. I mean, some of those genders, I think, can't fight.
Well, here's another one, man.
What about the kid who thinks he's a cat and they bring a litter box in to school for him? Shouldn't that kid go to a doctor? And isn't that what they've done with the trans thing? And they're getting the kids killed now in large numbers. I mean, Europe has turned against it completely and figured out what they're doing is killing more kids with all of this brainwashing. But two things are happening in corrupt America. Doctors who turn out to be as corrupt as anyone are making a fortune by chopping genitals off or doing hormone treatments.
Making crazy diagnoses.
Yeah, and the government will pay for it now. Kamala's ready to pay for all those 20 million illegals that came in. And then second, it serves the purposes of creating a chaotic society that won't defend itself. Who's going to defend us? Who's going to defend us? They're all drag queens. I never thought drag queens made great soldiers. What do you think, Ted?
Yeah, I mean,
Would you want if you were on the battlefield and we were trying to take a hill? Would you like to do it with the SEALs that I used to go give lectures to, or a bunch of drag queens?
I want the most effective person next to me.
How about when this building is burning down? We want like a 4'4" woman that was protecting Trump come in and protect and take us out, who couldn't carry us, or a 6'4" male who's a tough Irish fireman.
Look, I want to know. I want to know their pronouns. I want to know whether or not
Before we let them in.
Before we let them
While
in,
the building is
their
burning.
Pronouns. Yes, we have to know their.
Are they sensitive?
The diversity makeup of the department. Are they?
Do they approve of trans?
Yeah. So I have.
Are they sensitive to transgender?
Yes.
I'm sorry, you can't come in and save me, firefighter, because you're a homophobe.
Yes, they have to
You're
use
a
proper.
homophobe.
And they better refer to me by my preferred pronouns, or I'm not walking out that door.
Hillary, before, I don't know if it was on this show or the earlier show, we had Hillary calling Trump all those names, a xenophobe and a xenophobe and a zoopophobe and a boopophobe and a phobophobe.
Read my mind, man.
What are all those things?
You can put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables. Right? The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
Hillary-phobic.
But that other basket of is homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it. But
Like
that
hubby,
other basket of people are
rapists, like
people who
hubby.
feel the government has let them down. The economy has let them down. Nobody cares about them.
What a crazy time. Wasn't that?
Well, it's true. There are a lot of people like that because you double cross them. The Democratic Party has reasserted its role as the party of slavery by keeping people in the inner city poor. And they're worried that people are escaping the inner city, so they're replacing them with 20 million people we don't even know from cultures that aren't even cultures. Do you know in the Dominican Republic they're expelling 10,000 Haitians a day? You know why? They need Haitians. They need Haitians to do what you got to be to do work they won't do. The Dominican Republic is quite successful, and Haiti is a terrible failure. And that's been true since the two islands have been there. If you fly over both of them in a helicopter, which I've done several times, the first thing you'll notice is the beaches of Dominican Republic, which is a poor country, but I think one of the fastest growing of the South American countries. And I wouldn't say it's becoming a rich country, but it's becoming a very stable country.
And they want the Haitians out.
I got to also tell you something about the Dominican people, who I really know well, because they are a big part of New York. There may be a higher percentage of them now than Puerto Ricans. They're extremely industrious people. They have the same qualities as the Cuban people. A problem was when they came to New York, they were stuck in real poverty. They were stuck. They were stuck into a dependency system that the corrupt Democratic Party used for all poor people, and they weren't given a chance to work. The minute I did, they were one of the most successful in workfare, most successful, and they were the most successful in turning around Washington Heights. Under David Dinkins, who was the third worst mayor in New York history, and lionized the way Biden is, even though he was a damn crook, took $1 million bribe for inner city broadcasting, and that's just part of it. And all those black politicians were making a fortune off Harlem, and nothing was happening in Harlem. If the money that they were getting ever went to Harlem, I wouldn't have had to fix Harlem. It would have been fixed 4 times over.
Wow.
It'll look like Fifth Avenue. But Charlie Rangel took most of it. So, and this is very often true. This is part of the second level of enslavement of black people, which has to be recognized if you want to emancipate them. So basically, you give the Dominican people a chance to work, a chance to have their own business. Boy, they can be as successful as the Cuban people, as the Jewish people, the Italian people, these people, those people.
Which are excelling who?
Oh, so the Dominican Republic has had great economic gains in the last 10 years. Part of it is tourism, because their beaches are beautiful and the Haitian beaches are awful. Now, do you know why? Haiti burned down all of its trees, or chopped them down. I have no idea. They did. I think they chopped them down to make money, without thinking about the consequences to the beach. So the beaches are ruined. Plus, they're filled now with gangs, homicidal gangs, and nobody will go there. There was a time in which Haiti had something of a tourist crowd and a few nice resorts. Now it's too dangerous to go to.
But in Dominican Republic,
The Dominican Republic is just the opposite. Dominican Republic has, over the last 30 years, improved dramatically. And 30 years ago, it wasn't bad. It was always had 4 or 5 high quality resorts, and now even more, and doing better. And industry is starting. Exports are doing well. And the people that have come to the United States have now become somewhat of a success. Meanwhile, Haiti is going nowhere. It doesn't have an industry. It doesn't have tourism. People are more and more afraid to go there because the crime is out of control, which means the people they're sending to the United States, if there are crime problems in Haiti and there are crime problems in the Dominican Republic and they're throwing them out by 10,000, is Trump wrong when he says that these are a real problem for middle American cities? To take a city of 50,000 and put 20,000 Haitians in? That's the city in which they claimed that the Haitians were eating the animals. I don't know if they were eating the animals or not, but I do know something. They sacrifice animals.
so the Haitians are bringing that kind of chaos to the Dominican Republic, and the Dominican Republic is saying no more to that.
Throw them out
Yeah, we should be.
and send them over the mountain. There's a mountain that separates them. They just send them right over the mountain. Out. The president is getting beaten up by the human rights group, and then he said, "You're not going to tell me how to run my country. Go screw yourself. I'm not getting my people killed."
That's what we should be doing, of course.
I'm more than willing to deal with the Haitian people who want to respect our laws, but right now they're creating chaos here. Well, these are the same Haitian people that come into America.
And because
Look, the Haitians can be very good people too. There are a whole group of wonderful ones in Brooklyn, but I know that they can be an enormous problem. I mean, there's a tremendous voodoo followers.
So could it be that our government wants that chaos, and that's
I
why
have
they
no idea, but when I heard this thing about eating animals, which I don't know if it's true or not, all of a sudden I remembered the times that I was in Haiti, and I know they sacrifice domestic animals. It's part of the voodoo religion. So stop lying to people. You get them killed when you lie. Like the damn stupid governor of Colorado with that Aurora telling us that Tren Daragua wasn't there. They're all over the damn place. They're all over Colorado because you give them money. And the counties now, about 8 of them, are suing the governor for being a sanctuary city. They say, how the hell can you make us a sanctuary city? We don't want to be a sanctuary city. It's against the law to be a sanctuary city. Well, I want to urge all of you to make an $11 contribution right now, without my even telling you what it is. I want you to go t2t.org and pledge $11 a month. Trust me, it'll be the best pledge you ever made. I'm going to tell you why. It's for Tunnel to Towers. Tunnel to Towers Foundation does God's work. Thanks to the generosity of people who do contribute to Tunnel to Towers, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation welcomed U.S. Army Specialist Brett Menard into a new mortgage-free smart home right here in the free state of Florida. Brett decided to enlist in the U.S. Army after being motivated by the terrible attack of September 11, which, of course, emotionally means a great deal to me. And he had a desire to do something to help us and to protect us and to be part of something that matters. While he was on a road clearance mission in Afghanistan, Brett's vehicle was blown up by an improvised explosive device. In that instant, his life changed forever. The blast left Brett a T4 paraplegic with traumatic brain injury, compartment syndrome in both arms, unable to use his legs, and with severe internal injuries. He even needed a total face reconstruction because his bones and teeth were shattered by the explosion. Despite these overwhelming challenges, Brett's spirit remained unbroken. Because of support of friends like you, Tunnel to Towers was able to build him a specially adapted smart home that allows catastrophically injured people to have the maximum degree of independence. Now, how can you say no to $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers? T2T.com. T, the number 2.com. Make the contribution now. And you almost have an obligation to do it. Oh, you do. You don't almost. You do have an obligation to do that. Now, if you don't think there's migrant crime, what does that mean?
We have one more for the coffee.
Oh, we have a break because we're going to do an advertisement for the best coffee in the world, or Rudy's Coffee. We'll be right back.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's Coffee.
This is Rudy Giuliani back with you, and I'm about to give you the breakdown on migrant criminals, aliens, alien migrant criminals, because at one time they said there were none, and they were all just like the people who came over, during the Great Migration, immigration. Give us your tired, your poor, your rapists, your murderers, your completely sick perverts, and your drug dealers, your child abusers. We'll take them all. That's what it changed with Biden. Give us your rapists and your. Now that's what happens when you don't vet them. That's what happens when you let them come in at $100,000 a month, because $100,000 a month will come in and you'll see them. The other 100,000 you never see because they're on the part of the border that you're not able to patrol because you're so busy with the ones that are coming in, and the cartels are smart enough to take advantage of you. That's how they make their money. You think the fentanyl comes in at the border points? The fentanyl comes in between the border points. And that's what the cartels sell. They, right now, current state of our decrepit lack of border security of any kind, the cartels run our border. The cartels run the Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California border. Texas has a certain degree of control because of Governor Abbott doing what Biden said was illegal, getting the Supreme Court to back him and then never doing it. Remember, he put the barbed wire in the river. Abbott did. Biden should have kissed him, and Harris. But you see, they don't want to keep people out. They want to bring people in so they can register them, so they can get more congressional seats, so then they get more votes, particularly now that they're losing the Hispanic and black vote to some extent. They're panicking. So they bring in all these people. They don't really give a damn if they're killing you because they're not going to kill them. And finally, a lot of them do it because they're Marxists, and it's a way of watering down and then destroying America as a distinct country. Like if we don't have a language anymore, I mean, we're not one ethnic group, we're not one religion, we're not one race. We used to all believe in certain basic things about the Constitution, but they don't believe in a fair trial anymore. Trump got convicted on less than unanimous verdict. He's the first guy since the Magna Carta that was convicted on less than an unanimous verdict.
That's right.
So just to let you know, because we're the ones that had to dig this out because they were lying about this, about the criminals they're bringing in. This is a highly criminal percentage in this group of migrants because there's no control over them. And the minute they found out there's no control, they send everybody in. There's a whole group all lined up to try to come in, and they're trying to come in the last days of Biden because they know when Trump is there, they ain't getting in. And if they get in, they're going to be taken right back. Well, there was a dead man found hanging from a tree inside a Bronx park. Manuel Delgado, he's an asylum seeker from Peru. He took his own life on October 9 after his family found out about his alleged ongoing assault of a teen. That's all that I have here. But I think you know what that means, right? When I say these people are
mentally
a disproportionate number of perverts, I am correct. This is Manuel Delgado from Peru, who was a Biden-Harris invitee. A 16-year-old boy was fatally shot in Harlem on Thursday, leaving his father wailing with grief. Clarence Jones, West 124th and Lenox Avenue. He was shot by two suspects on Razor scooters. This is alleged, possible, because this is the featured method of traveling around of Trinidad. They have thousands of scooters, and they use it largely to steal cell phones and other things, but also, to shoot you, knife you, beat you over the head. And they are largely concentrated in the Bronx. So I'm guessing, but I could be wrong, that this is another illegal alien crime. Oh, God. A quiet amnesty for 1 million immigrants. Yeah, right. Garland. 600 migrants in the U.S. have been identified as being associated in one way or another with Tren de Aragua. 100 of them are absolute members. 500 are either members, witnesses, or victims. They're in, and this was just a survey. They're in 15 states already with sex trafficking in Louisiana. They've engaged in a point-blank shooting of 2 New York City police officers. The U.S. Immigration and Customs Service has arrested over 100 people with alleged ties to the gang in a very short period of time. So that's what we're talking about. And then we have this hate crime in Chicago, in which Sidi Mohammed Abdallahi, Sidi Mohammed Abdallahi, who's 22, who is an illegal from Mauritania who crossed as a Biden-Harris invitee just in 2023. He was screened by the border agents who quickly released him into the United States, even though he said he wasn't fleeing for political reasons. What the heck? Just let him in. So he He was going around specifically targeting Jews in an anti-Semitic attack when he ambushed a 39-year-old Jewish man in Chicago. And while he opened fire, he was yelling "Allahu Akbar." Despite that, the Chicago police cannot list this as a hate crime. This reminds me of Obama when there was a shooting at a federal facility, and the guy came in and he shot a whole bunch of people yelling "Allahu Akbar," and he wouldn't list it as an Islamic extremist hate crime. What does the guy have to do? He's telling you he's doing it in the name of Allah. If somebody came in and said, "I'm killing you in the name of Jesus," you think it would be listed as a Christian crime? Or, well, I mean, hey, this is a guy who's doing it in the name of Allah, killing the people that Allah and Muhammad told him to kill, a Jew, or trying to kill. And it's not a hate crime. And this is America. And we're proud of the way we treat Jewish people. What the hell is wrong with us? So let's hope it's going to change, because our friend Ted came up with this poll that he really outlined beautifully for our board.
Well, we talked. Yep.
This is polling from Atlas Intel, one of the top-rated pollsters of 2020. I did make the joke that there are a number of top-rated pollsters from 2020, but I can't remember anybody who got it right. I'll have to go back and look. But I have to say, all of them had Trump underrated in 2020. Even the Republican ones had Trump underrated in 2020. And I don't think Trump has become any more acceptable to the snob noses, right? In fact, less. I think the snob noses turn their nose up at Trump even more. That's why we all love him, because we are the detestable, we're the garbage.
And the proud garbage.
I tell you, the sanitation men were some of my favorite people.
That's right.
I loved them. I loved how hard they worked. And
well, Mayor, we
can't believe the way they picked up snow. They were unbelievable. Arizona. You read it off.
I was going to say, while you talk about it, I'm going to bring our Michigan correspondent, Stephen, onto the screen. But I'll let you know, we can talk about this as we bring in Stephen for an update from Michigan. You can see him here in just a second here. We're going to rearrange some of these shots here. There's Stephen. And so we're going to read off some of these polls here. In Arizona, Trump is up 5. He's up 5 in Arizona. This is according to Atlas Intel, which had very accurate numbers in 2020. North Carolina,
go ahead.
He's up 4.
Mm-hmm.
Nevada, Trump is up 4. That goes in with what you've been saying about Nevada.
Nevada? Do you mean Nevada?
Pennsylvania, Trump maintains a 1.1% lead. In Michigan, 1.2%. And in Wisconsin, 0.03%. So those are all within the margin of error. Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan.
Yeah, and I would have thought that those last 3 would go the other way: Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan. That Wisconsin would be the biggest lead. I'm surprised Georgia is only 2 points. And I am very happy to see Nevada at 4, North Carolina at 4, and Arizona at 5, because I think, with numbers like that, you can never put it in the bank, but you can be pretty comfortable. I would expect Georgia to be better than that, and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. So those are still pretty tight. What do you think, Stephen? You saw the numbers.
Well, I'm much more hopeful than the numbers, to be honest with you. I've actually learned over the course of the past few cycles to not really trust them all that much. And I think we have to be also, cautious about the silent Trump voter. So all these people have been telling me, like, a lot of people are like a little bit worried to like put signs out and things like that, but they're still firmly with us. And if we look at return, okay, so like I'm on the ground in Oakland County, mostly, Southeast Michigan. And what they're telling me, I get briefed by the party office. They're telling me that the returns are like completely exponentially better than they were back in 2020. Now, a little bit of that is because like we're as a party, we're, you know, voting early. And so like some of that's being reflected in this, but we'll see what
I voted
happens.
today. I rarely vote before election day. So,
Yeah.
you
Who'd
know,
you vote for?
oh, I can't say. And you would never, I mean, I had a very hard time making up my mind.
Yeah,
But I
I'm
ultimately voted
undecided.
for
I'm
Trump.
undecided right now.
I ultimately voted for Trump and Vance. I actually, I don't know if my ballot will work. I actually crossed Harris and Tampon Tim out. I crossed their names out.
Uh-oh. Get ready for litigation
I
on
don't
that
think
one.
I think Tampon Tim should be running in Beijing.
I don't know. He would do well. I bet he would be a good, well, they need him over here, I guess, probably. That's the idea.
Yeah. So you think Michigan is better than 1.2?
I definitely do. Cautiously optimistic, right? But based on what we're hearing, so some of the bigger precincts actually have lines outside and we're able to talk to people. And like I have people talking to people and they are telling me that it's moving in our direction. And it's like the broader, you know, we're a bigger tent now than we were. And so a lot of these people in Oakland County that kind of turned their backs on Trump back in 20 and well, 16 even.
Tell people what Oakland County is. They wouldn't necessarily know.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I've been drowned in it. I'm in Michigan all the time. So Oakland County is like one of our, you know, wealthier suburbs outside of Detroit, with a lot of the suburban women and suburban men as well, actually. And it's been a demographic that we've been kind of working our way into. And a lot of groups are on the ground doing a good job with that. And it's actually
kind of back into.
Yeah, exactly.
Used to be like Nassau County, Suffolk County, used to be heavily Republican.
Amen.
Then
And
it switched around Clinton time, right?
yeah, when I was a young man, actually, no, it actually stayed Republican for even longer. Cause like even when I was, you know, a young lad, we had L. Brooks Patterson as the county executive and it was Republican. It was like true. You could like raise a lot of money. That was your base as a Republican, even up until really Ted, you might be able to know. Trump basically was the first, was when it started to swing.
Trump have trouble with the women?
Yeah, Trump had some trouble in Oakland County, if you want to call it the suburban women, however you want to spin it. He did. He lost some votes in Oakland County, but he more than made up for it out of the cities, right? Upstate in the rural areas.
Oh yeah,
tens of thousands of voters that hadn't voted for anyone.
Is that how we won in
That's how we won Michigan.
So I think what you're telling us, Stephen, is he's doing better in Oakland County now.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's where the progress is so promising because it is it is the most populous county that we have. I think it's like around 1.2 million people. So it is a big deal, and it's looking good. That's who I get briefed from. Like that's the most important numbers almost to me. I mean, everything's important, right? And the ground game is actually making it happen too. And there are so many of these events that kind of like keep normalizing the president, because if you just listen to the media, you're going to be like thinking he's a monster. But then as like they've had enough time to kind of understand what's going on and see president
sanitation truck, right?
Oh my gosh, how amazing has this been, right? Oh, I love that. I'm hoping we have a rally tomorrow actually in Warren for the presidents at 4:30, but I mean that means it starts, 8 a.m.
We'll be covering it and putting it on tomorrow night. We'll try to get you on to tell us about it, okay?
Oh, absolutely. I'm hoping they bring the garbage truck. Do you think they will?
All right. I don't know. Where was the garbage truck?
I'm not sure. Should I be trying to get a garbage truck together? I don't know. But
that was in Green Bay, Wisconsin, Stephen.
Well, you could drive it to Michigan.
Go get yourself a garbage truck, slap on a Trump van sign, meet him at the airport.
You know what? We could make it happen probably. All right. Well, that's my homework for tonight. Anyway, hey, good talking to you guys. Stay tuned. We'll check in tomorrow.
All right,
Stephen.
Thank you, Stephen.
Well, tomorrow we'll be back. We'll get you the update on that rally. We'll give you a detailed analysis of the electoral vote. We're going to also be on over the weekend for you. We'll alert you to the times so that we can keep you up to date on anything that develops over the weekend. And please take seriously. Let's do a Budweiser to Neiman Marcus.
Yeah.
They don't want to use Christmas in their Christmas advertising, but they want to make money off it. Screw them. They charge you too much anyway. You can get much better deals in other places. Right?
I did a little research on Waltz, and so the brand of tampons found in the boys' bathroom are Tampax. So maybe we can call them Tampax Tim.
Tampax Tim. Tampax.
I prefer tampon.
Wonder.
Tampon's better.
Yeah, tampon Tim. Okay. Some people just call them tampon now.
It's the funniest part. It's funny. I don't
That
know.
is the funniest part.
Pray for the people of Israel and for the people of Ukraine, and also pray for the people of Iran who really would like to be free of this maniacal religious fanatic who kills people left and right, who is supported by Obama and Biden and Harris, and also pray for the wisdom of the American people. And we need you, God, right now. And we need you back in this country. And we'll do everything we can to get you back. But give us a break here. Let's make these numbers come true and better.
Too big to rig.
Yeah. God bless America. Bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze.